All right. So last night, Donald Trump came out and gave what some people are saying is the most important presidential address since the Bay of Pigs. Some are saying it's the most important presidential address of all time. It sure, to me, seems like the most important presidential address, at least of our Gen X lives. You know,
I
a
agree.
lot was dropped. A lot was dropped yesterday. 58 PDFs were dropped. A lot of information was released to the public to help everybody understand that there was a serious amount of foreign interference into our elections. And they're only going back to 2018. They're not even going further back than that. They're just at least
For now.
starting with, yeah, exactly. They're starting with 2018 and moving forward. But I think not I think, I know that this is the beginning of a lot of drops, a lot of information, and over the next year, couple years, this is gonna be omnipresent, in the news for a long time.
Yeah. I want to go back and watch it again because he wasn't speaking last night with his normal like gait. He kind of went at it a little fast. I bet he was excited to get this stuff out. And for people like you and I, none of it's really a shocker.
Mm-mm.
Wouldn't call it brand new information. Some of it was like the China the proof of China inform the China infiltration. That's kind of new for me. You always assume it, right? But it's nice to know that there's something to back it up. Um, Overall, I love that he led with China. Notice he didn't say the Democrats did all this and the Democrats are bad and damn those Democrats, and because that just would have turned everybody off in the first place. He started with China to realize that the greatest threat is from without, you know, without, but still kind of within, right? That's beside the point. We'll get there, right? And I really liked it right in the middle of the speech. I don't know if you caught it. You probably did. The call for unity, basically, like, look, this should bother everyone that this happens, that there is infiltration, our elections can be and have been manipulated remotely by other countries. So everyone should be concerned and everyone should be on this. The problem is people aren't going to be. It's going to be the same. Oh, Donald Trump's a liar. Donald Trump's a liar.
Yeah, so, and this goes to something that I figured we would get to, but I'll just address it right now, is that you're seeing in real time the effects of the repeal of the Smith Munt Act. So the information that Trump is dropping and the way things are happening are a specific progression for a reason. So if you look at it from the other side, things happened in a specific progression for a reason. So you have 2012, Obama does the Smith Munt Modernization Act, which we
Mm,
always know modernization means that it went back to the old ways. You know,
yeah.
The Smith Munt Act was, hey, propaganda isn't illegal. And then the Smith Munt modernization is, hey, propaganda is legal again.
Yeah.
So now
Yeah.
there's no reason for the media to tell the truth, which is why Trump coined the term fake news. That was his way. If you think about it, fake news is a term that he coined. Everybody says now, but he did it for a reason. He put it in the American lexicon to teach us about that kind of stuff.
The irony of that is, I got to look it up, and he didn't actually coin it. I think CNN did, and he just took it and made it what it is.
He
I
grew it,
know.
but whoever coined it,
No,
whatever.
but
But the point
it's
is
just
that he
it's the
made it.
best.
Oh, I see what you're saying. That the irony that CNN. Okay, I'm with you.
Yeah.
The irony that CNN. I'm a little slow, so it took me
Yeah.
a minute. Yeah, irony of CNN coining fake news, and then CNN was one of the news outlets that didn't air the president last night. What does
CBNN,
that tell you?
ABC, and NBC, I believe it was. Yeah, messed
Yeah,
up.
yeah, they didn't air the presidential address. And the thing is that the president called NBC and ABC out specifically
That was
as
nice.
being complicit. So, but if you go back to the Smith Mundt Act, all of a sudden now propaganda is legal, and then they just start hammering you with all sorts of lies. They just start hammering you with all sorts of lies to the point where here we are today. Americans refuse to believe that China interfered with our elections because they hate Trump so much. But if you ask them why they hate Trump, It's nothing that you can touch. It's nothing tangible that you can see. One of my absolute closest friends, one of my very best friends in the whole wide world, is somebody who walked up to the polls in 2020 to vote, and he was sent away. No, you voted already. So here we are. We had always assumed that maybe it was a mail-in ballot type of a thing. We thought maybe like somebody had,
Part of it.
but it turns out no. China voted for him.
Hmm.
China voted for him. China has the ability to vote for you. They have the ability to change your registration to another state and vote for you. There's a lot of things that China is able to do. They're able to change your vote after you've cast it. This is how bad China is in our country, but people refuse to hear it because of a decade worth of lying by the
Right.
media.
But that's the irony of it. The same politicians that are saying, don't believe Donald Trump, this, don't believe about China, bury your head in the sand. The same politicians, the same media outlets 15 years ago were saying exactly the same thing, that the election systems are broken. They're compromised by foreign countries, particularly China and Russia. Um, but now, since Donald Trump's in office, now it's like, no, no, freest and safest and most secure election in history, that whole line. In fact, somebody was spewing that yesterday, literally yesterday on X. I don't remember who it was, Hakeem Jeffries or something like that. Pre-bunking the election denier stuff. So, in the immediate sense, this is not going to move the needle at all. So, I'm actually going to criticize Trump's presentation a little bit. Everything he said, loved it. It was great. It was strong. It was powerful. I loved everything about it. But the people that need to be convinced at this point aren't going to hear it. They're not going to hear it coming out of his mouth, and they're not going to believe it. So now they got to go to whitehouse.gov. Whitehouse.gov has a nice little blurbs up about, I'm assuming you looked at it, right?
I didn't go directly to the website, but I've been seeing a lot of the individual documents.
Yeah, you
I've been seeing a
reposted
lot.
one of the really good ones. That
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
so
yeah, yeah,
go to Dan's page, check that one out.
yeah.
Right. So you go to the website and has an overview of what what's going on, or election integrity, and this has happened, and blah, blah, blah. But once again, if you can actually convince one of these, as you like to call it, the ill-informed, if they actually go there, now they're going to see a blurb written by Trump's people, which is not going to help the situation either. But you click the links, then now you have to download the PDFs and actually read them for themselves. There's no way to view them on the site that I'm aware of. You actually have to download them. So that is 3 stumbling blocks that's going to keep people continue to be ill-informed, uninformed, right? That's a little bit, I didn't find that effort at all. I thought it very easy because I like to read documents. I like to see when the FBI says we are not going to give this to the president in the presidential daily briefing. I like seeing documentation like that because it proves all these things that I believed in the first place. But that's way too much effort for the people that are not, that aren't already on board. You know what I mean? So I think he screwed up there as far as convincing, if that was even his goal. I don't think it was his goal.
I disagree with you. And here's why I disagree with you is that this is the beginning of a constant roll of information. This was just the very first one. And I'll be honest with you, last night I was really hoping for him to declare a national emergency. But like I
I
said, there
I
needs
was
to
going to
be a
put money on
progression.
that.
There needs to be a progression. So he's dropping this information out and he's letting people read it. You know what I mean? It's
Mhm.
not like he's going to finish this thing last night and all of a sudden everybody's going to be like, oh, I changed my mind. I love Trump. I had people on my page beforehand telling me that it was already wrong. The same people were on their pages telling people not to bother and watch. So there's this whole what? Think about this. Why would there be an entire campaign to not even listen to the president? Think about that. Think about that. Imagine if you were in school and you found out that somebody was being dishonest, and then a friend of that person who was being dishonest was going, you know what? I don't even think we should listen. You would think, all right, maybe this person is complicit in it, but everybody
Mm.
here's going, no, 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 I'm not going to listen. I'm not going to, because I can't hear the lies. But the other thing is that you see how they say it? I can't hear the lies.
Yeah, yeah.
I can't hear the lies. They're predisposed that it's going to be false. But you don't think he knew that when he released that last night? Do you think that he really believed that he was going to convert the masses last night? I guarantee you that exactly the reaction that you're getting is what he was anticipating, because we
Oh
all
yeah.
could have predicted it. We all. But here's the thing: he laid some things out there. You know what I did? I tell you what. I'm going to say this right now. I will give you $1,000 if you can accurately predict what I watched after Trump's speech last night.
You watched something with Joe Hoft on the Gateway Pundit?
So, for clarity, I couldn't figure out how to get on it, so
Me
I was
neither. I
going to
was sure
do
as you
that.
sent me that link, I'm like, how do I get into this thing?
I couldn't figure it out. I
All right, so
couldn't
what?
figure it out.
Well,
My
that would
friend
have been
Marty said
cool.
it to me. I couldn't figure. But anyway, but I didn't really want. I didn't really want to watch anything. I watched the quiz with balls.
I don't know what that is.
Congratulations to the Washington Generals who beat the Harlem Globetrotters on a game show that my wife and I watched, which is a game show where people answer questions, and if they get the question wrong, ball goes down a ramp and knocks people into a pool, and it's an elimination game, and that's what I watched immediately following the president's speech.
Well, okay, that's out of you have to explain yourself. That's kind of out of left field.
So I did try to go to whitehouse.gov and download the stuff, and I got an error message because just everybody was
It
on
was
there,
packed, yeah.
and I tried to go to the Joe Hoft I did try to go to the Joe Hoft thing, and I couldn't figure that out. Now I was monitoring Signal and Telegram, so it's not like I wasn't completely paying attention. But my thought process is that I needed to sit back and wait. Within about an hour and a half, my uncle sent me a file, so I knew
Mm,
that was the first one I was going to read. That's the first full one that I read. It was only 6 pages. Then
mhm,
I waited for the people that I trust to do what they do.
right.
And then this morning I looked, I saw what Patrick Byrne had to say. I saw what Tony Schaefer had to say. Saw what Colonel Tanner Watkins had to say. A bunch of other people. I watched what they had to say, see what they were pointing towards. And the one thing that I felt was necessary was the one that I posted, which was the email where the woman admitted that she's running a shadow government. And they were, well, I don't think the one that I posted was the one where she said we're running a shadow
No,
government. It was the
no, it
one
was
where she said we're massaging the presidential daily brief. So it's proof, it's evidence. See, this is the thing, is that everyone's like, no, no, no. They're releasing emails of people within the Trump administration that are
hmm
purposely withholding information from him.
right. Going back to Trump's intent. So yes, I don't agree. I don't think it was his intent to like really convert anybody over to his side. Like, oh yeah, I love Trump, but I would have liked him to drop something that would at least wet people's whistle. Like so, like you just brought up
You
the
don't think what he dropped is wetting anybody's
no.
whistle?
If while he was no hours, sure, but the people that are like, no, fuck you, I'm not listening to Trump. Those guys, if you actually got their eyeballs on him, if you actually just put up that one document that you just referred to, proving that his people inside because he just once he said the deep state, everyone's like probably turned it off if they don't if they're not into him in the first place. So if you put up a little deep state letter telling you that it's actually they're really taking the information away from him. They're not telling the president what the fuck is going on, and he's the goddamn president, which is treason as far as I'm concerned. If you just while he said it, if it just popped up on the screen, that one little tidbit alone might have sent some people over to actually go look at this shit, other than you and me and your uncle and the people that are into this and that are willing to read things. Now, overall, though, I don't think
I'm finding out. I'm fine. I found out today that my uncle's known about this a lot longer
oh,
than he let
I'm
on.
sure, I'm
He's like
sure.
today. He's like, look, now that it's out, I can tell you guys. I was like, son of a
Mm,
bitch,
But
son of a bitch.
well, maybe your uncle can answer this question for me because Clandestine actually made a really nice statement on it, which would agree with what you're saying, that the intent of this speech was not to convert anybody. It was to give the legislators a chance to say, hey, look, we're going after this stuff. Please pass the SAVE Act. Please fix our elections. So, and then when they don't, because honestly, I don't think John Thune's ever going to do it. So if when they don't get this through, when elections are still in jeopardy, he's proven that he's exhausted every possible avenue to solve this problem. Either so then he doesn't that free him up to be able to declare the national emergency, and or doesn't it give him greater powers. It was a great observation by Clandestine. I'd like to know if once he's done that, doesn't the president get more muscle once he's really tried to do everything else possible to solve this problem?
Um, this is exactly so let me go back to what I had said a minute ago, and tie it together. There's a reason why after the president was done last night, I walked away and I just looked at my wife. She was expecting me to be busy the whole night, and I said, "Hey, let's watch some mindless television." This is some of the mindless television that we
Yeah, I was
watch
expecting to be
because
blasted with text from you. I got nothing.
no, I walked away from it. I walked away from it.
Mm.
I didn't walk away from it. I mean, I
I know,
fell
I know.
asleep. Fell asleep at midnight with it in my ears. But I mean, you know, I point is that you gotta give the information time to do what the information is,
Of course.
supposed to do. So, you're not gonna convert anybody today. That's why it is on the army of digital soldiers to start to put this information out there to help the public see, you know? Like, for example, I'll give you a little line that my uncle said today, which which I don't know how to take, but this is how he said it today. He was pretty adamant about some stuff. He goes, "People need to understand." He goes, "This isn't me saying it. This isn't Juan saying it." And he goes, "This isn't my judo kung fu nephew saying it."
Judo kung fu nephew.
That's exact. I was like,
Okay.
wow, judo kung fu nephew. That's. But anyway,
Yeah,
point is he
that's
going?
a
This is
t-shirt.
the
You're getting a
president.
t-shirt.
This is the president saying this. You
Mhm.
know, and that's the point is that people, whatever you think about Donald Trump, he's not a TikTok personality. He's the
Mhm.
president of the United States releasing stuff that the
Absolutely.
intelligence community is backing up. All of the intelligence heads of the intelligence community went over everything he said in his speech to confirm it before they were done. And now people are saying something like, well, yeah, Ratliff was his guy, and then why would he?
Ratcliffe.
And
Mhm.
everybody's trying to find a reason. Everybody's trying to find a reason why the
Mhm.
information isn't real. But the people that are doubting it, none of them are actually attacking the content of the information. They're
Oh,
just
never.
trying to find outside reasons to attack the credibility of the information
Yep.
because they can't attack the information. Why? Because it's not coming from your judo kung fu counterpunch co-host. This is coming from the fucking president.
Yeah. And that statement alone is the reason why it's the disgrace that any network didn't air it. I never understood this about Donald Trump. Like, I don't care. Like, I hate listening to cackling Kamala Harris, but she was running for president, so I listened to her. I hate listening to Joe Biden. He puts me to sleep. He doesn't make a lot of sense unless he's talking about people rubbing his leg hair and like Applejack or whatever the Cracker Jack, whatever the guy's name was. You
Soda
know,
pop.
Soda Pop. Yeah. No, Corn Pop. It was fucking
Corn
Corn
pop.
Pop.
Corn pop.
Corn
Yeah.
Pop. It was Corn Pop was a bad dude. Right. So I didn't want to listen to that stuff, but I'd be irresponsible not to listen to it. So the fact that they don't air it, absolute complete disgrace because it is the president. Like him or not, it's the president.